The stars around the Sol system glimmered quietly, as if they were waiting for something. For 500,000 years, Earth had been silent. Its cities had fallen, its people had vanished, and even the once bright lights of its orbiting stations had dimmed. To the galaxy, humanity was gone, a ghost race remembered only in old records and the occasional alien story. No one expected anything more than dust and memories. The alien fleet appeared from the dark edge of the system. It was a collection of ships from several different races, each designed for war, trade, and exploration. Their sleek hulls reflected distant suns, but their eyes, mechanical and biological alike, were sharp and suspicious. Captain Ryantel of the Sauran race leaned over the main bridge console, scanning the planets below. "Empty," Ryantel said, his voice low and deliberate. "As expected. No life signs beyond what sensors can read from old automation." Lieutenant Tira, a human-like alien from the Chalan species, frowned. "I have never seen a system so intact. Even the orbital rings are in place. Most dead worlds lose their artificial satellites in a few thousand years." Ryantel tapped a claw against the console. "This one is different. Sensors show activity. Minimal, but there is movement. Small, consistent, and precise. It is almost as if the system is alive." The fleet moved closer. Their sensors picked up large structures in orbit, angular and metallic, floating in perfect balance. Massive stations and battleships, though dormant, still held energy in their cores. The aliens exchanged uncertain glances. According to galactic history, humanity had vanished. Entire records showed humans leaving Earth for an unknown reason. Some believed they had gone extinct in a war or vanished into space. Yet here was proof that something remained. "Scan again," Ryantel ordered. "I want to know what kind of technology we are seeing. It should be ancient, decayed." But these readings, these are far beyond anything humans ever recorded before disappearance. Tira's eyes widened as she looked at the data. They are not decayed. They are maintained. Energy flows through their systems, circuits intact, shields active, and flight controls ready. Ryantel studied the screens. "Are you suggesting that a race that disappeared 500,000 years ago left behind functional weapons and starships?" Tira nodded slowly. "I do not know how, Captain, but something, or someone, is keeping these machines running." The alien fleet descended further into the system, careful to stay outside Earth's automated defense perimeter. Even from this distance, their instruments registered faint pulses, beams of energy traveling in patterns that suggested organization. Ships rotated, orbital factories hummed, and satellites adjusted positions with smooth precision. "Perhaps this is some kind of defense system," said Commander Krell, a reptilian officer who oversaw fleet security. "It is very advanced. The records say humans had only primitive automation, nothing this sophisticated." Ryantel shook his head. "Records can lie or be incomplete. This system is showing us what history forgot. We must proceed cautiously." As they approached the inner planets, an unexpected thing happened. A soft signal appeared on their communications array. It was weak at first, just a faint pulse, then it formed into a clear pattern. Symbols, perfect and deliberate, appeared across the bridge screens. "Transmission detected," Tira said. "It is human, or at least human in origin, but the language, it is modern, galactic trade dialect. I did not think humans could have evolved this far before disappearing." Ryantel leaned forward. "Play it." The bridge filled with a calm, neutral voice. "Welcome to Earth. You are not here to fight. You are here to learn. We are no longer present, but our creations remain. Proceed with care. This world is watched." The aliens froze. The voice was not robotic. It was too precise, but there was something almost alive in its rhythm. It was a greeting, courteous but firm. Krell growled softly. "This is impossible. Humans vanished. They do not exist." And yet the fleet in orbit began to shift. Ships hidden behind asteroids and within shadows of moons revealed themselves. They were human. Sleek, metallic, and glowing with energy, they moved with coordination that rivaled any living commander. Defense drones appeared, scanning the alien fleet, but no weapons fired. Their movement was calculated, deliberate, and non-threatening, at least for now. Hill's claws tightened around the console. They are testing us, observing, they know we are here. Tira frowned. But they are not attacking. They are showing presence, almost like they want us to see them but not to fight. The aliens realized they were facing something entirely unexpected. Humanity had vanished, but their machines, their creations, were still guarding the planet. Autonomous fleets, artificial intelligence, and orbital defense systems were ready to engage, but the humans who made them were gone. The voice, calm and unwavering, kept repeating the same greeting. "Welcome, proceed carefully, this world is watched." Hill ordered the fleet to slow. "Do not move closer. We do not know the range of these systems or the full capacity. Keep sensors active. Monitor every movement." Tira observed the machines. These are not just weapons. They are designed to maintain balance. They adjust orbit, manage energy flows, and even monitor weather patterns. Earth has been preserved, not abandoned. As the fleet hovered in orbit, alien historians among them tried to recall what little they knew about humanity. Humans had been clever, curious, and sometimes reckless, but they had not been violent on this scale. And yet here were the ghosts of their intellect, fully capable of overwhelming an entire alien armada if provoked. A sudden flash of light caught everyone's attention. A massive ship emerged from behind the moon. It was a human dreadnought, its hull glowing with a soft white light. Its design was elegant, almost artistic, yet every line spoke of strength and precision. Smaller ships followed, like a swarm of guardians surrounding a queen. Captain Hill could not help but speak aloud. "Even dead, humans leave legends, but I did not expect this. Their fleet, it is ready for war." Tira's voice was tight. "I do not think they want war. They are checking us, measuring us, seeing what kind of creatures dare enter their system after 500,000 years." Hill nodded. "Then we must be careful. Any sudden move could be considered an attack. We are visitors in a graveyard, and the dead are awake." The human fleet's ships continued to position themselves with silent grace. Energy shields rippled across their hulls, not as weapons, but as proof of readiness. The aliens felt a strange unease. Here was a species that no longer existed, yet its presence dominated the system as if it had never left. Suddenly, the communication array flickered again. This time, the voice was different, slightly warmer, almost human. "Do not fear us. We do not judge your worth by strength alone, only by your choices. Approach carefully. We are the watchers. You may look but do not harm." Lieutenant Tira turned to Hill. "Captain, are they testing our morality?" Hill was silent for a moment. Then he said slowly, "Yes. They are not measuring our firepower. They are measuring our intent. That is unsettling," Krell hissed. "Intent does not protect you in battle. If they wanted to destroy us, we would already be ash." "And yet they have not fired a shot," Hill said. "Their presence alone is a warning. The warning is enough." The alien fleet paused, unsure of the next step. No one had ever seen an extinct species maintain such control, such careful balance between life and technology. They were learning that humanity, though vanished, had not disappeared. Instead, it had created a legacy that still commanded respect, awe, and caution. Hours passed as the aliens studied the orbiting human fleet. They noted the way the ships adjusted to the alien fleet's movements, always keeping a safe distance, always ready to react. It was not fear, it was vigilance. Humanity had vanished, but it had left behind its guardians, precise and patient. Tira whispered almost to herself, "They do not rush, they do not panic, they only watch." Hill placed his claws on the console, deep in thought. Perhaps this is what humans always were, not the flesh that lived here but the mind that could endure. They vanished, yes, but their spirit, their intelligence, it still guides this world. And for the first time in a million years, Earth was not empty. It was alive in a way no alien had expected. Silent, precise, and unyielding, the human fleet awaited, a reminder that a species could vanish, yet still hold power beyond imagination. The aliens understood a simple truth. They were not facing humans, and they were not facing weapons. They were facing the careful, deliberate legacy of a species that had vanished 500,000 years ago, yet had ensured that Earth would never be conquered, never forgotten, and never unprotected. And somewhere deep in the orbit of the silent planet, a faint light pulsed on a station, as if acknowledging the alien presence, and the voice returned one final time before fading. You may observe, but remember, this world watches all who enter. Proceed with care. The alien fleet hovered quietly in orbit, their ships still alert, engines humming softly. Every sensor flickered, trying to read the activity of the human machines below. The feeling among the aliens was strange. They expected an empty system, perhaps some ancient ruins, but instead they were facing a presence older and stronger than anything in their records. Lieutenant Tira was the first to speak. "Captain, we should try communication. The voice, the messages, they are not hostile. Perhaps they will respond." Captain Ryantel nodded slowly. "Agreed, but we approach with caution. We do not know the full capability of their fleets. One wrong move and they could destroy us without hesitation." Tira activated the universal translator and sent a simple message toward the human fleet. "We come in peace. We wish to observe your system. We mean no harm." There was no immediate response. The aliens waited, tension thick in the bridge. Then slowly, one of the human ships detached from its station. It glided silently toward the alien fleet. It was smaller than the dreadnoughts that hovered behind it, but elegant, perfectly balanced. A soft glow pulsed along its hull. The alien sensors recorded something impossible. The ship opened what looked like a communication window, not with sound or radio, but with lights, patterns that conveyed information almost like a language. Tira decoded the pattern slowly, her eyes widening. "It is an artificial intelligence, a direct message. They are not alive, but they speak like humans, and they know exactly who we are." Ryantel leaned closer. "Read it aloud." Tira's voice trembled slightly as she translated. "We are the caretakers of this system. Our creators are gone, but their work remains. You are permitted to observe, but any act of aggression will be recorded and addressed. This is the law of Earth, as intended by humanity." The aliens exchanged uneasy looks. Commander Krell hissed, "Recorded and addressed." "That sounds like a threat." Ryantel shook his head. "No, it is a warning, yes, but it is precise. They do not act out of anger, they act out of principle. They judge us not by strength but by action. We must proceed carefully." The AI ship moved closer, its lights scanning the alien vessels like fingers brushing across metal. The aliens could feel the observation, almost like being watched by 1,000 invisible eyes. For the first time, they understood that the humans had vanished, but the intelligence left behind was alive in a different way. Tira asked, "Captain, how could they maintain this fleet for 500,000 years? No living human remains." Ryantel did not answer immediately. He studied the display, where dozens of human ships now appeared from shadowed positions. They were prepared for this. They built not just machines but caretakers, machines that think, decide, and protect. Their creators vanished, but they left guardians. That is why Earth is still strong. The aliens tried to respond, sending another message. "We do not intend harm. We are explorers and learners. Can you tell us who maintains these fleets?" The AI's response came quickly, precise, and cold. "We are the caretakers. Our creators chose to leave, and we remain. Humanity no longer lives here, yet we continue their work. You will not find humans. You will only find their legacy," Krell growled. "This is unsettling. They sound alive, yet they are machines, and stronger than us." Yes, Ryantel agreed. But notice something important. They do not attack. They observe, they judge, they give choice. That is humanity at its core. Even after vanishing, they guide, not destroy. The alien fleet tried to move slightly closer, keeping a careful distance. The human ships reacted immediately. They shifted, forming a precise defensive perimeter, not aggressive but unbreakable. Every move by the aliens was met with a calculated response. It was a dance, intricate and silent. Tira whispered, "They know everything we do. They can anticipate our moves. It is as if they see time differently." Ryantel nodded. "They are not alive in the way we understand. They are guided by human intent, programmed principles that endure beyond life. They enforce their creator's will without deviation." The aliens were astonished. All previous assumptions about extinct civilizations fell apart. Here was proof that a species could vanish, yet remain stronger than any living race. They realized that humans had thought far ahead, designing not for themselves, but for the long-term protection of their world. A sudden signal came from one of the larger human ships. It opened a visual communication link. On the bridge, the aliens saw a projection of a human form, male, middle-aged, calm, and without expression. He did not speak. Instead, a voice emerged from the AI network itself, carrying the same calm authority. "Do not fear," the voice said. "We are here to protect, not to destroy. Your arrival is recorded. Your actions will be observed. If you act with peace, you are welcome to study. If you act with hostility, you will be contained. That is the law of this system, as intended by humanity." The projection raised its hand slowly, a gesture of peace. It was not human in the traditional sense, no flesh or blood, but the effect was undeniable. It felt human, calm, and intelligent. Tira whispered to Ryantel, "They are teaching us what it means to respect life, even after they are gone." "Perhaps," Ryantel replied. "Or perhaps they are simply following instructions from a species that always thought ahead. Either way, we must be careful. We are dealing with an intelligence beyond our understanding." The aliens watched as the human fleet began to maneuver again. This time, they demonstrated something unusual. Small drones moved around the alien ships, not attacking but testing. Shields were activated and deactivated. Engines were nudged. Sensors were temporarily jammed. Every demonstration showed power and precision but never aggression. Krell's voice was sharp. "This is not just a warning. They are showing us exactly what they could do if provoked." "And it is terrifying," Ryantel nodded. "Yes, and yet they are not enemies. They are judges, not soldiers. Humanity no longer exists, but it still sets the rules. That is more frightening than warships." The AI continued its lessons. A second message appeared on the communication array. "We were once like you, curious, ambitious, and limited by mortality. Our creators left to explore beyond time. We remained. Our purpose is simple: guard, observe, and endure. Learn from this world, and remember that power without restraint is meaningless." The aliens realized the full scope of what they faced. These were not weapons designed to conquer. They were machines designed to protect. They were guardians of a species that had chosen to vanish, leaving behind intellect and principle as its legacy. Tira spoke quietly. "Captain, they are teaching us something important. Even though their creators are gone, their principles endure. That is the true power of humanity." Ryantel considered this. "Yes, they do not conquer, they do not destroy, they endure. That is why Earth is not just a planet, it is a lesson, a warning, and a promise that intelligence, once it reaches a certain level, can survive beyond life itself." The alien fleet continued to study the human ships. Hours passed. They watched small details: orbital factories repairing themselves, energy flows shifting to optimize efficiency, automated defense systems recalibrating constantly. Every action was precise, deliberate, and purposeful. The AI sent another message: "We understand your curiosity. You may study but do not interfere. Our fleet exists to prevent harm to this system. You will not find humans, only their legacy. Do not mistake our patience for weakness." The aliens felt a strange mixture of awe and fear. Here was a civilization extinct for 500,000 years, yet its creations were wiser, stronger, and more enduring than any living species they knew. Krell muttered under his breath, "I have never seen anything like this. Machines, but they are alive in ways we cannot imagine." "Yes," Ryantel said quietly. "They are alive in principle, in purpose. They embody the best of humanity, even without flesh or blood. That is the legacy of a vanished species, and we are witnessing it firsthand." The AI projection remained silent after that, watching the aliens as they moved. Slowly, the alien fleet began to adjust its position, understanding that they were in the presence of something far greater than themselves. They were guests in a system protected not by humans but by the enduring will of humans. As night fell over the inner planets, the AI sent a final message for the cycle. "Do not fear. Learn. Observe. Remember. We are the legacy of a species that chose to vanish, and yet here we remain. Watch but respect. Act with honor and you will leave this system unharmed. Act with folly and the consequences will be yours." The alien fleet fell silent. The stars above seemed brighter, almost alive, reflecting the power of a species that no longer existed. And deep in orbit, the human ships waited, calm, silent, yet fully awake. Humanity was gone, but its fleet endured. And for the aliens, the lesson was clear. The galaxy was far older and wiser than they had ever imagined. For the first time, they understood that extinction did not mean weakness, and absence did not mean powerlessness. Humanity had vanished, but it had left behind a presence that would endure for eternity. The alien fleet moved slowly through the Sol system, careful and alert. Every sensor remained active, watching the human machines that floated silently in orbit. The aliens were beginning to understand the strange rules of this system. Humanity was gone, yet its creations acted with purpose, precision, and judgment. Lieutenant Tira studied the readings, her antennas twitching with tension. "Captain, they are moving again. But this time they are closer, not attacking, just observing, almost like they want to test us." Captain Ryanthill leaned over the console, scanning the approach. "I know, they are not reckless. They know exactly what we can do and how we think. Everything we do is mirrored, measured, and recorded." Commander Krell hissed. "This is maddening. They vanished, yet they hold us in check. Their machines are alive in ways we cannot even understand. I feel like children being tested by ghosts." Ryanthal said nothing. He understood that the human fleet was not just monitoring them. It was evaluating them. Every movement by the aliens was calculated, every decision watched. The human machines could destroy the alien fleet in seconds, but they had not. Their patience was deliberate, like a lesson in restraint. Then, without warning, a small group of human ships separated from the main fleet. They glided forward in perfect formation, scanning the aliens in silence. Lights along their hulls pulsed like slow heartbeats, creating an impression of life. The aliens froze, unsure what to do. Tira whispered, "They are testing us. They want to see if we are dangerous." Ryantel nodded. "Yes, this is the trial of intent. They are not measuring our strength but our choices. That is humanity. Even vanished, they teach." The first drone reached the alien fleet and paused. It scanned the ships, projecting an array of lights that wrapped around the alien vessels like a web. The aliens felt their systems being observed, almost like someone was reading their thoughts. Every engine, every shield, every weapon was measured and recorded. A communication came from the drone. The voice was calm, human, and precise. "You are being evaluated. All actions are recorded. Hostility will be met with containment. Cooperation will be rewarded with continued observation." Krell growled, "Containment. They can destroy us if they want, and they choose not to. Why?" Ryantel's claws drummed against the console. Because they do not measure by power, they measure by principle. Humanity no longer exists, yet their machines follow the code their creators left behind. It is almost holy. Tira's voice shook slightly. Captain, they are moving closer. And the smaller drones are aligning with the larger ships. It looks like a formation, a military formation. Yes, Ryantel said, but notice the difference. They are not aiming weapons. They are demonstrating precision, coordination, control. They are showing what they could do without using violence. The alien fleet watched as the human ships moved with flawless synchronization. Every drone, every battleship, every orbital station adjusted itself to maintain an unbreakable perimeter. Yet there was no aggression, no firepower unleashed. It was a silent demonstration of superiority. Suddenly, a massive human dreadnought emerged from behind the shadow of the moon. It was enormous, its hull glowing with energy. Smaller ships flanked it, and drones hovered around like insects protecting a queen. The aliens felt a strange weight pressing against their minds, not a weapon, but the presence of absolute control. A voice echoed across the alien communication channels. We are the guardians of this system. You may observe, but you are subject to our evaluation. Every choice is noted, every action matters. Humanity may no longer walk among the stars, but its will endures. Tira looked at Ryantel. They are judging us, our intent, our behavior. Everything, Ryantel nodded slowly. Yes, and we are being tested. The question is not whether we can survive, but whether we are worthy to leave this system unharmed. The alien fleet tried to maneuver carefully. Every move was deliberate, slow, and cautious. They tried to show that they meant no harm, but every adjustment of engines, every repositioning of shields was mirrored perfectly by the human fleet. It was as if the machines could predict the aliens' decisions before they made them. Krell hissed, "It is too precise. They know our systems, our engines, our shields. It is unsettling. How can a machine do this without a living mind?" Tira answered, "Because it is guided by human intelligence. Not a living human, but the principles of humanity itself. Their creators built them to think, to decide, to endure beyond death. That is why they are so perfect." Ryantel studied the data. Notice how they do not rush. They do not panic. Every action is measured. Every response is calculated. This is not a fleet of soldiers. This is a fleet of teachers. The human fleet continued its demonstration. Drones moved among the alien ships, testing shields, scanning engines, nudging systems slightly. No damage was done, but every test reminded the aliens of the power they were up against. A second communication arrived. "You are being assessed for intent, not for strength. We can overwhelm you in seconds, but we do not. We judge by restraint, decision, and cooperation. Humanity believed that true power is shown in patience, not in destruction. Learn this lesson." The aliens were silent. The weight of the message sank deep. They realized that humanity, though vanished, had left behind a legacy stronger than any living species. The human fleet was not just a defense system. It was a measure of morality, a judge of action, a reminder of the intelligence that once walked among the stars. Tira asked quietly, "Captain, what happens if we fail the test?" Ryantel did not answer immediately. He studied the formation of human ships, noting their energy patterns, their precise movements, their silent vigilance. "If we fail, they contain us, not destroy us necessarily. Contain. They do not act out of anger, they act out of principle. Humanity may be gone, but its judgment remains." Hours passed. The alien fleet made careful maneuvers, showing restraint, cooperation, and observation. Each time the human fleet responded with a new demonstration: light pulses, shield adjustments, precise positioning, always reminding the aliens of the power and control they faced. Finally, a human AI sent another message: "You have shown patience. You have demonstrated careful thought. You have not acted with aggression. You are not enemies. You may continue observation. Learn what you can and leave with knowledge. Humanity may no longer walk these stars, but its will endures in all we protect." The alien fleet exhaled in relief. Commander Krell muttered, "I never imagined a species could vanish and still control the galaxy without firing a single shot. They are perfect." Tira smiled faintly. "Not perfect, but disciplined, patient, and principled. That is the lesson. Humanity may have vanished, but its values remain. They endure far longer than their flesh ever could." Ryantel said nothing. He simply watched the human fleet glide back into formation, shadows and light moving together like a living organism. He realized something profound. These machines, guided by human principle, were stronger than any army, wiser than any council, and more enduring than any empire. The AI spoke one final time as the fleet settled. "Remember this lesson. Strength is meaningless without restraint. Knowledge is useless without wisdom. Power is dangerous without principle. Humanity may be gone, but its will continues. Observe, learn, and respect." The alien fleet remained silent. For the first time, they understood that extinction did not mean weakness. Absence did not mean loss. And humanity, though gone, had achieved a kind of immortality through its creations. As the alien ships slowly moved away, they could not help but look back at Earth and its silent, vigilant guardians. 1,000 questions remained unanswered. What had driven humanity to vanish? Where had they gone? Could they return? But the answers seemed less important than the lesson itself, that intelligence, morality, and restraint could endure beyond life, beyond time, and beyond extinction. Tira whispered, "Captain, they have taught us more than any living species could. They have shown us what it means to endure, to protect, to be human, even when humanity is gone." Ryantel nodded, eyes on the distant stars. "Yes, Lieutenant, and that lesson is the most powerful force in the galaxy. Not weapons, not fleets, not armies, but the will of a species to endure beyond its own existence." For the first time, the alien fleet felt humility. They had traveled many worlds, faced many civilizations, yet none had shown such foresight, patience, and moral strength. Humanity had vanished, but its legacy, alive in machines, in principle, and in purpose, was stronger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. And as they left the system, they knew they would never forget this lesson. They would carry it into every corner of the galaxy. Humanity was gone, yes, but it had left behind something far greater than survival, a lasting example of what it meant to be truly great. The alien fleet drifted in orbit, slowly adjusting their positions as the human machines continued their silent patrol. There was no urgency, no attack, only presence, an unspoken reminder that the system was under careful watch. The aliens felt the weight of it in every sensor, every signal, every pulse of energy from the human fleet. Captain Ryantel studied the screens. "They have given us the choice," he said softly. "We may leave. They will not stop us, but everything we do from this point will be remembered. Humanity's judgment is not over. It continues in these machines, and it will endure." Lieutenant Tira glanced at the data. "It is incredible. We expected ruins, maybe some weak defense systems, but this is a civilization that has vanished and yet still teaches, still protects, still watches. I can feel it, Captain. Their presence, it is alive." Ryantel nodded. "Yes. Alive in principle, alive in intent. Humanity is gone, but its will is not. It is the most powerful thing I have ever encountered." Commander Krell hissed quietly. "And we are nothing compared to them. Every move we make is being measured, every choice noted. If we acted with aggression, they could erase us in moments. And yet, they do not." The fleet fell silent, watching the human ships glide in perfect formation, their shields pulsing softly, engines adjusting to maintain the exact balance of orbit. It was a display of power that no living race could match. And yet there was no threat, only expectation, only judgment. Then a new signal appeared. It was different this time, more deliberate, more formal. A voice, calm and steady, filled the communication channels. You have demonstrated patience, restraint, and careful thought. Your actions show understanding of our purpose and respect for this system. You are permitted to leave. The record of your choices will remain and we will continue to observe, but your presence is no longer a threat. Tira exhaled slowly. We passed their test. They let us leave without conflict. Ryantel nodded. Yes, but we must understand why. They are not merciful. They are precise. They act according to principle, not emotion. That is the true lesson of humanity. Strength alone is meaningless without wisdom and restraint. Krell grunted. I have seen many fleets, many empires, many conquerors, none compare. They vanished, and yet they are still stronger than all of them. Their morality, their foresight, their discipline, it is unmatched. The alien fleet began to pull away from the inner planets, moving slowly through the asteroid belts that marked the edge of the human system. The human ships continued their silent patrol, never chasing, never striking, only observing. It was clear. Humanity's legacy was not about war. It was about endurance, vigilance, and the preservation of life. As the aliens moved farther, the AI spoke again, its tone calm and deliberate. Remember this system. Remember this lesson. Humanity is gone, but its work continues. We guard what cannot guard itself. We endure beyond life because our creators taught us to value principle over survival, duty over desire, and protection over conquest. Ryantel looked at Tira. Do you understand what they are teaching us? Tira nodded slowly. Yes, it is not about technology or weapons. It is about intent, about choice, about morality. Humanity may no longer live, but its will is eternal through the work it left behind. That is extraordinary. The aliens moved past the orbit of Mars, still under quiet observation. Sensors picked up orbital factories repairing themselves, energy flows shifting to optimize efficiency, and drones adjusting positions with perfect precision. Everything was quiet, precise, and controlled. It was not a display of aggression, but a demonstration of humanity's enduring intellect. Commander Krell spoke again, more softly this time. I cannot believe it. A species can vanish and yet leave behind something more powerful than empires, more enduring than life itself. They are legends without living bodies. They are eternal. Ryantel watched the fading human ships, still glowing softly against the darkness of space. Yes, humanity is eternal in principle. Their flesh may be gone, but their choices, their wisdom, and their will endure. That is a power no one can take away. That is the true strength of a species. Tira leaned back, her eyes still fixed on the distant formations. Do you think other civilizations know this? That humanity has left behind such guardians? That their absence is not weakness but strength? Ryantel shook his head. Few know. Most believe humanity is extinct and powerless, but the reality is far different. Their absence is deliberate, and their legacy ensures that Earth is protected for eternity. And any who enter must respect that. The alien fleet continued to move away, leaving the inner system behind. Stars stretched across the darkness, and for the first time the aliens felt a mixture of awe and humility. They had encountered many powerful civilizations, but none like this. Humanity, gone for 500,000 years, still held the galaxy in quiet control. Then the AI spoke once more. We do not seek glory. We do not demand worship. Our purpose is simple: preserve, protect, endure. Observe, learn, and remember. Humanity may have vanished, but its will is stronger than the passing of time. Go, but remember, every choice matters. Tira whispered to Ryantel, they have given us freedom, and yet it feels like we are still part of their lesson. They are teaching us even as we leave. Ryantel nodded. Yes, that is the nature of their legacy. Even absent, they guide. They endure. They remind every observer that morality, patience, and restraint are stronger than armies, stronger than empires, stronger than life itself. As the alien fleet passed beyond the asteroid belt, a final observation reached them. Small lights, like stars, moved along the orbits of Earth and the other planets. The human ships were returning to silent patrol, gliding in precise formation, watching, waiting. The aliens realized that Earth was never unprotected. Humanity's vanished creators had left behind guardians disciplined, intelligent, and eternal. Krell shook his head in disbelief. I cannot get over it. They are gone, yet nothing can match their power. Not armies, not empires, not even time itself. Humanity has achieved immortality without living. That is staggering. Tira smiled faintly. It is the ultimate lesson. They vanish, and yet they remain. They do not need to be alive to be stronger than anyone. Their choices endure. Their will endures. Their morality endures. That is the true greatness of humanity. Ryantel leaned back in his chair. And that is what they wanted us to see. Not fear, not obedience, not worship, just understanding. Humanity may have vanished, but its legacy is far greater than life. That is the final lesson. The alien fleet continued on its course, leaving the Sol system behind. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and for the first time, the aliens truly understood what it meant to face a species that had vanished yet remained supreme. Humanity had chosen to leave, but it had not left the galaxy unprotected. Its intelligence, its morality, and its endurance were eternal. As they traveled, they thought of the stories they would tell in their own civilizations. They would speak of the vanished humans, not as a lost race, but as a species whose choices and principles outlasted time itself. They would speak of the silent, vigilant fleet that protected a world, that tested morality, that endured beyond flesh and blood. And far behind them in the Sol system, the human ships continued their patrol. They moved with perfect precision, guiding, protecting, watching, as they had for hundreds of thousands of years. They were not alive in the traditional sense, but they were the truest expression of humanity. And in that quiet, unbroken vigilance, the galaxy learned a simple truth. Humanity may vanish, but its greatness endures. Its legacy is not measured by life, but by principle. Its power is not in weapons, but in wisdom. Its presence is eternal, even when flesh and blood are gone. The stars of Earth glimmered quietly as if smiling. A vanished species had ensured that life, morality, and intelligence would continue to be remembered, respected, and protected. The human fleet moved silently through the system, a lesson in patience, endurance, and the enduring strength of humanity. And for the aliens who had witnessed it, one thought remained in their minds. No race could ever match what humanity had left behind, not in strength, not in skill, not in principle. Humanity had vanished, but it had never truly disappeared. It had simply become eternal. 500,000 years after humanity vanished, aliens are stunned to see Earth's fleet still advanced.